Hi folks! Welcome back to our channel. Today we're very excited to review our latest build update from Kinetic, which is the first for this year and we just received in January. Our last update, as you probably remember, was from October of last year, and at that time we showed you that the primary assembly was complete, including the addition of our custom integrated solar arch.
So as the boatyard in Knysna was shut down for the holidays or their summer, from the middle of December to the middle of January, they're all back now and things are picking up again. So as they return to work on hulls 04 and 05, which is ours, they're both slated to splash this calendar year. So it's getting close and it's getting very exciting.
Indeed. So in speaking with the team at the yard, we understand that hull 4 will be splashing in probably the next 2 to 3 months. And we are following that at about 6 to 8 months thereafter. So we anticipate that this will take us to about October, December timeframe.
So we know one of our followers, Sailing Vaster. Hey Kirk, we know you're watching, and you know what? They're building a Balance 526 in St. Francis, South Africa next door, and they're scheduled to launch at about the same time now, so who knows? Wouldn't it be cool if both performance catamarans were crossing the Atlantic at the same time later this year? So stay tuned, let's see if that actually happens.
Yep. So let's get to the update. On page 1 of the build report, you can see the photo of the exterior of the salon from the starboard hull. As with the previous report, they have been fairing the outside of the hulls and surfaces. You can see all the sanding blocks on the coach roof and the craftsmen on the port hull actually fairing down the primer on the deck.
It looks like all the hull hatches and openings and the covers for those hatches have been manufactured and are just awaiting some priming and some paint. The location of our hull in the middle of the boatyard, in the central hall of the yard, is still the same, as you may notice from the last episode. But in the background you can see that they've installed a plastic curtain, and that plastic curtain is there to separate the two finishing areas for hull 5404 and 6202, who are in the final finishing area, and that's because they're probably just about to go into final exterior painting.
Now let's have a look at page 2. This is the port or owner's hull of our build. If we bring up the floor plan of the CAD renderings, this may help in giving you an idea of what you're looking actually at and from which perspective. Starting from the top photo, this is looking forward from midship, and this is our master stateroom. And it will be built over the curve of the bridge deck arch, as you see on the right. And beyond that is the head with the vanity, sink, and the shower stall at the very end.
So you can see that this space is going to be very bright with all the long side hull windows, the overhead hatch, and the hatch over the headboard of the bed. Everything has been sprayed with the primer and looks ready for a top coat. The photo in the middle is looking downwards towards the rear of the port hull with the rows of storage cabinets on the left-hand side. There are no doors here yet, but you can see the spaces that have been allotted for him. The frame or the box that you kind of can see in the bottom left corner, or the bottom right corner in that space, is where the washer and dryer is going to be contained, and that will be housed behind the cabinet doors. Everything in between and above that storage space will be storage, and the door right after that is where one of the heads is going to be, and that will have its own sink. So we decided to separate the head on the port side from the main shower, and each gets their own sink. We did that because if we had guests using the convertible stateroom or office, they wouldn't have to pass through our stateroom to use the head. And the common shower will actually be on the starboard side, and it will be shared by all 3 guest rooms. So we wanted to conserve water, and we didn't want to have a separate shower and all the plumbing for each stateroom. We want to be mindful of the conservation of water when we're offshore, and so we wanted to just have as few heads and as few showers as possible while still giving people the privacy and the convenience.
Yeah. All right, so the next photo in the middle, it shows the view all the way down the port side from the aft convertible office/stateroom. And we love the continuous run down this side with the windows on the outer hall side to provide continuous lighting. There's a sliding door that will extend from the bulkhead to provide privacy if the office is used or it is, occupied as a guest room. And the last photo is the view of the office/stateroom and the big hatches and windows, which will provide the space with a lot of light.
Yeah. So let's move on and look at the starboard hull. You can see that this side has also been sprayed with high build primer. All the beige spots that you see in the photos, they're actually where the craftsmen have manually spot filled and sanded smooth the surface to eliminate any kind of imperfections before the top coat of paint is applied. The aft stateroom on the starboard side is not convertible. So there's going to be a permanent bed in there, no office. But the space is identical in terms of dimensions and windows orientation to the port side. And so it's basically a mirror image from a space perspective to what's on the owner's hull.
Now, bringing up the floor plan rendering again, you can see the starboard hull on the bottom. The photo on the far right shows the craftsman working on the common head, and it shows spaces which are on the outboard side of the hull. And you may recall from our design episodes that this was a change that was recommended by the Kinetic team in order to improve ventilation in this head, as the move outboard allows the addition of overhead hatches. The stairway for the starboard side is also located further forward, allowing for the accommodation of the layout in the salon we very much wanted. It is more asymmetric, but we do like the way this makes the boat different in design from each hull.
So the photos, just to show the guys hard at work, hand fairing, all the primer, you can see them all here in the shots. We had mentioned that building a catamaran is very, very labor intensive in its whole process. So all this hand fairing and sanding, fitting, and other tasks are all done manually and by the craftsmen here at Kinetic. Of course, I'm encouraging very strongly to take their time and to be perfectionists, as this is our little baby.
And now moving to the fourth page, we see the main salon and galley, and yes, more priming and more fairing. You can no longer see much of the carbon fiber structural components, as almost every surface has now been prepared for top coat painting. The only area which has not been primed and faired is on the right hand side where the galley cabinetry goes anyway.
So on the final page, we have some photos of our coach roof and our now completed custom solar arch. So you can see the structure is also being primed and faired in preparation for painting. What's curious about the primer that's being used here is that it's already kind of orange in color, so it kind of foreshadows our final exterior paint color. Very nice. And so you can also see in the photos that it's a little bit rough as well. So I believe they still have to fair and sand this section down so it's smooth before applying the final coats of paint. And of course on the top of the solar and the coach roof are going to be solar panels. So they're going to be the flexible type that are going to be installed on these surfaces.
So our understanding is that all the furniture components have been under manufacture in parallel with the prepping of our boat and will shortly be ready for installation after the interior and exterior paint is done. Our build should be accelerating now that the boatyard is ramping back up from the holidays. Please like and subscribe to continue to follow our updates on our build.
We'll also be providing more updates on some of the changes and additions that we'll be making along the way, because there have been some already which we've mentioned. But even today, as we're talking to the designers this morning, we had a couple of ideas and last minute changes with respect to the interior and some of the finishing choices that we made that you've seen on some prior videos. So make sure you follow along with us on this build journey. Stay tuned, and thanks for watching.